Sid and Dion, brothers on a comedy path. All jokes aside, we about to change the math. Real talk plus no filter equals not your usual chatter. From sports to politics, all subjects matter. Never shallow, we about to go into the deep end. Get ready to dive in, go ahead, grab a friend. Now this is grown people business, keep them kids inside. Now that's debatable, jump on, it's time to ride. Yeah, now that's debatable. Now that's debatable. Here we go. Time to start the show.
Yo. Merry Christmas to you guys again. Just when you thought you got all your Christmas gifts, we are back. This is either a late Christmas gift from 2023 or it's coming at you early. We are Not As Debatable. Myself, Sidney Smith. That's Dion Curry. If you're here watching us, then you are a master debater. Thank you for joining us. Cedric in the house. Say what it do. When the last time we seen Ced? What it do, Ced, man? Thanks for jumping in, brother. I should have known Ced was gonna be in on this one. When I split up the Katt Williams shit, I should have known. And so Ced gonna have some story how he know Katt Williams or some shit. What up, stupid bless? Oh, that's my dude. What's up, bro? How you doing, my guy? It's been a minute, man. We need to hook up, bro. We need to hook up. We got a fun show lined up for y'all. Before we jump into all of that, we got another thing too. I hope we have time to talk about. Di is definitely going one way on this other thing, and I'm going another way. There's a teacher out there on a college campus that is laying down the law to her kids on what to say and not to say. And Dion and I have two very different takes on this, so I can't wait to jump into that. But before we get into all of that, unless you've been under a rock, you know what we got to talk about. You know we got to talk about Katt Williams. People been hitting Dion up. People been hitting me up. I'm like, yo, just watch the fucking show, man. Just watch the fucking show. We'll tell you what we think, what we believe. For those of you who were under a rock, Katt Williams was on Shannon Sharp's podcast, Club Shay Shay. I'm not sure what Shannon thought the podcast was going to be about. I think he thought it was going to be about whatever he had on those index cards. Katt Williams decided to go a completely different route and had shit to say about Ricky Smiley, Kevin Hart, Faison Love,
Steve
Harvey, Ced the Entertainer. I mean, the list was ludicrous. I mean, I felt like somebody called a stray. Gary Owen, I felt called a stray kind of sort of at one point, but maybe he didn't. I don't know. But it was a very interesting podcast, very interesting interview. And I think Shannon Sharp probably got the #1 podcast interview for 2024 in the first week of 2024. I don't think anybody's going to top that one, Dion.
Here's the thing. I don't think anybody should want to top that one, to be honest with you, because the only way to go above and beyond what he did is to pull out the dynamite sticks, light them, and toss them at people who you might not personally care for. And then there might be some collateral damage. This interview was sensational, to say the least. A lot of treats were told and a lot of things that we need to double check to make sure those are accurate. I'm not saying he's lying. I'm just saying I'm not sure if I believe it. So
you don't think he can run a 40 and sub 4.3, 4.2 numbers?
No. As someone who ran track in high school, no, I don't think he can do that. No. At his current age, no, I do not think he can do that. But nothing will make me happier than to be proven wrong and have to eat another slice of humble pie. Because if he can, I mean, just stack that on top of the amazing resume he already has. I'm a fan of Katt Williams. I think he's one of the most brilliant minds in comedy. I think he's a really intelligent dude when it comes to how to say what he's trying to say. So in that regard, hats off to him. But yeah, that 40 thing, I don't know about that. And the whole punching people in the stomach, I don't know about that. We don't need that.
I want to give our shout out here to some folks who are jumping in with us, saying hello to us. Facebook user here says, yo. Not quite sure who that is.
That's Aaliyah Craig. She's watching.
Oh, Aaliyah. What's good with you, Aaliyah? My favorite Aaliyah is watching the show. My boy Sean Mitchell is on. Says, yo. Said he's been busy, but he got time today. We appreciate you, Said. Anytime you can jump in with us, brother. Anytime. Kathleen K., another lost master debater, has been found. Thank you for jumping in with us, Kathleen. What's that, bro?
I said, welcome home.
Absolutely. Welcome home. Hey, appreciate you for loving what we're doing. We do appreciate it. Said Diddy too. Yes, Said did get Diddy. he went in on my man. Shit.
Cat got Diddy.
I'm
You
sorry,
said
Cat.
Sid.
I'm sorry, Sid. Yes, Cat got Diddy, and he got Harvey Weinstein as well. Wanted to suck. He wanted to suck Cat's dick, according to him, to be in the movie. No Sleep Ike, the comedian, is in with us. What's good? No Sleep. First time. You
Well, yeah, he's a local comic here in Indy. What up? I'm glad he joined us. Appreciate
okay?
that.
Well, what's good? What's good? Facebook user says I didn't know a whole lot about Cat, but dang,
That's goody good.
goody good. Okay,
Her,
well,
yeah, appreciate her.
Marissa is in with us. Hello, hello to the both of you guys. Hey everyone, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you as well. Facebook
That's Lee
user
Jones, your favorite boy.
Lee, bro, Lee did it right this time. I ain't even gonna go into it. We got too much to talk about, but Lee, good on you for
Nah,
this week,
stop,
brother.
stop. I texted him and told him not to call me.
Oh,
Like, I texted him at 7:45. Don't call my phone next.
all right. And Kathleen says, thank you. Happy to be back. It's been a long minute. All right, let's just jump right into the cat stuff. I was watching it because I was sitting here at my desk doing some work, and I like to have YouTube going. I'll go to YouTube and I'll refresh it, and something came up, Katt Williams, and I like Dion. I like Katt. I'm a fan of Katt. And then, he's going to say some off the wall shit every once in a while that's going to entertain you too. So, and I like Shannon Sharp's podcast as well. I listen to it when I'm at the gym sometimes, and I'll watch it. So I threw that on, and it was live. It wasn't even recorded. So that was one of the cool things about it. And then as I'm watching it, I'm just like, what? So I hit Dion up. I hit my girl August O'Neill up. I'm like, y'all have got to be watching that shit. It was absolutely bananas. I know what I thought. What were some of your thoughts about it when you were watching it at that moment, Dion?
My first initial thought was it's good to see Cat. I hadn't seen Cat in a while. It was good to see him. Club Shay Shay is an interesting podcast, is an interesting dynamic because he comes from football. He's not a professional journalist. He's not someone who's, the typical interviewer. So it was kind of a fresh perspective. It was definitely a free flowing conversation where he kind of let Cat talk. He asked him some questions, but he kind of let Cat go off on certain tangents. I've seen a lot of comments where people are like, "Oh, you should have checked them on this. You should have checked them on that." It definitely broke the internet. They did mad numbers in 24 hours, which hats off to Shannon for having some really cool content. Because when at the end of the day, that's what we're all trying to do. We're all trying to create content that everybody wants to watch. And in our business, we're trying to post clips of our stand-up that get people to watch, and it's got to be 15 seconds, 30 seconds, whatever. Here's a 2 hour and 45-minute interview where everybody's engaged the entire time. There's not a dull moment in it. It was a fantastic watch.
Katt Williams, by far, is probably the most entertaining person to watch be interviewed. He's entertaining just to watch on stage, and he brings that to the like. My man is up. He's moving around. He's got all these different things. He's acting out while whether he's seated or he's standing up. He's got all these little. What did he say to fucking Shannon? He said, "I didn't know you were so comfortable with losers or some shit."
It's,
Like,
what is it? Your affinity to back losers is
yes,
beneath you or something like that. Yeah.
just all the wittyisms that he's just doing. So he's by far the most entertaining person to see interview. So I was taken aback by it, and you said it 2 hours and 45. Facebook user here says my first thought was, damn, this is 2 hours and a half hours. I thought the same thing because it didn't seem like it because it was so seamless. You and to your point about Shannon not being a journalist, I am with you. I like it more often than not. I definitely liked it for this. One of my best people to listen do an interview is Dan Patrick, and I've heard him talk about it. He says, my job is to ask the question and then get out of the way to let you do your thing. And whether Shannon knew that's what he was doing or not doing, he was nailing it. As opposed to maybe your classic journalist would have been trying to get in the way with follow-up questions or corrections or whatever. He knew that this is entertainment. I think a part of him was a little bit afraid because he did make a couple of mentions like, I don't know if I'm going to get anybody. This might be the end of Club Shay. But I thought he did a great job staying out of the way, and it was by far one of the most entertaining interviews I have seen in forever.
I'm glad you made that point about him being unsure because that was part of the beauty of the conversation was. It wasn't scripted. It wasn't. Shannon didn't know what Katt was going to say before he started to say it. He presented him with option, and Katt gave him, just magic to work with. And that's what I think is the most compelling part about that interview was it was completely authentic to the conversation that they were having. I mean, rewatching it, I think there are some times where Shannon probably should have stepped in to kind of, more laser focus on, well, please better explain this, or tell the people who aren't in the comedy world what's going on, why this is a big deal, to give it a different type of perspective. Because when he talked about the Wanda interview with the woman
Which
down,
is hilarious.
that interview is, to me, is one of the most embarrassing moments in someone's life. It's right up there with Jamie Foxx, Doug Williams, "I'm Your Conscience." I mean, it goes, "I'm Your
Yes,
Conscience," and then
yes,
that
yes,
Wanda Smith
yes.
interview when
Yeah.
it comes to just the other person being completely embarrassed. Like, they tried it, it didn't work, and then the professional made them look even worse. Like,
I want to say this about the Wanda thing real quick. It was here's for people who haven't seen it after our show. Don't do it now. After our show, YouTube, Katt Williams, Wanda, and it'll pop right up for you. It's a very quick clip. To have someone come on like Katt Williams, who's doing a favor for your co-host, and for you to try to do this man the way you should, she had everything she had fucking coming. It was, as you would do, chef kiss, masterful, masterful on how, and never cursed her, never called her out her name, never anything. Took control and completely shut it down. Where Ray Grant was over there fucking laughing. He didn't even try. He said, I'm not catching any of this."
to me, my favorite part of that whole interview is the look on Wanda's radio co-host's face while he's laughing. He's like, "Oh, this is not going well for her. We're going to commercial. Yeah, let's go to commercial." And then they don't go to commercial because Katt's not done. It was beautiful. And then the fact that Wanda's husband pulled a gun on Katt and tried to was threatening his life over Wanda starting it and him finishing it. To me, that was one of those things.
It was good. I want to go back to the Shannon Sharp interview, but I want to get to a couple of comments here. Facebook user here says, "I appreciated that long show. Got me through over half of my drive from California back to AZ." Who said that?
Demetria Baker. What's up, Demetria? Happy New Year to you.
Demetria, I'm with you, but I don't know. I might have had to pull over that shit and just watch it on the side of the road. That shit was too good. And man, again, the visual was too outstanding. Facebook user says, "Good evening, everyone. How are you doing?"
Yes, Crystal.
Crystal, good to
Crystal
see you.
T.
Crystal.
Miller. Thank you for joining us.
Absolutely. Facebook user says, "I usually can't listen to Shannon's voice because it drives me nuts, but I listen to the whole thing."
That's Courtney Ross. Thank you, Courtney.
Courtney, you are so right. Most people, when they move from wherever they're from, they grow out, however you want to put it, they grow out of that sound, if you will. He still sounds country. You wouldn't even think he lived in LA or Denver. You would think he did that podcast right out of Georgia, the backwoods someplace, where they still shooting raccoons and cooking up for dinner. It is a lot to listen to.
He's come a very long way from the beginning days back when he was on CBS with James Brown and Boomer and the other guys to transition into the show he had with Skip to now he's one of the highest paid sports personalities in the world. So shout out to Shannon Sharp for doing his thing, man. Grinding all these years. It was definitely entertaining, but yeah, he's got that big nose, so it's kind of nasally, and it's like his voice can grate on you, but he does a phenomenal job of being like that uncle. It's professional, but it's not professional in a way. Like it feels like you're just having a conversation with somebody you've known for a long time. And I thought that was another entertaining part of the interview.
Which is why I loved it, because I know just between you and I, our show, that's something you and I have always wanted our show to be with our viewers as well. We just sitting back, man, as if we could, sitting on the porch, having a couple of drinks, shooting the shit about whatever we plan on shooting the shit about that week. All right, now let's get back to Katt. Katt going on, super entertaining. What was the thing that caught you most off guard that he said? Or what was the thing that you found most entertaining about a comic? Now, we all know the 40 time. He runs a a sub 4.340 bullshit. He read 3,000 books every summer bullshit. You're looking at two very avid readers, especially growing up. There's no way I would sit here and try to tell you I read three. When did I go to school, motherfucker? When did I do any studying if I read 3,000 books a year? But what about a comedian probably took you most?
Um, I can't say that I was truly shocked about anything that he said. I thought what he said probably about um, Kevin Hart was probably the most shocking thing to me. Just because I thought they had squashed their beef, from back in 2016. They were going at it back and forth, and Kevin Hart went on the Breakfast Club and did that interview, and I thought that was kind of all squashed. So for him to bring up Kevin Hart again in this interview, when I don't recall hearing Kevin Hart say anything about Katt Williams, for him to kind of catch that stray, as they say, that to me was the most shocking part of it. Other than that, I don't really have any issue with anything he said about anybody else. To be honest with you, I didn't know
Really?
Cedric
Really?
ripped off his joke. I didn't know that. So yeah, I
Okay.
really don't have a problem with it because comedy is competitive, whether we want to admit to it or not. There's an underlying understanding in the comedy scene that there is competition at the top. We can get along, we can still be friends, but that doesn't mean we don't want to be better than the next person on stage. And I think the love that he gave to Bernie Mac is just another testament to who he is as a person. Katt Williams would be the first person to tell you that he don't think he's the funniest person on the planet. His fans might think he's the funniest person on the planet, but his own personal ego doesn't get in the way of, saying, hey, I think I'm good, but I don't think I'm the best. And that's another thing I applaud him for.
I'm gonna tell you what got me most of all. We're gonna go back to the comments. I see Laura Fracano is with us. What's good, Laura? It's been a long time with you too. Man, we seen a lot of old time Max and
Old
debaters
faces.
jumping in, man. Yeah.
Happy New Year to us.
Happy New Year. I'm gonna tell you the thing that got me was the Kevin Hart and talking about the Illuminati, if you will. Now, I don't know what they're called. You call them whatever you like. You can call them Roscoe's Pizza Company. I don't give a shit what you call them.
Pizzagate.
We call it whatever you want to call it. Here's my thing that I always say to people. If you say the boogeyman exists, why do you keep fucking with the boogeyman? It does you no good. I thought there was a couple of things, Kevin Hart being one of them, the Illuminati being the other. This does you no good at all. This does not help your career. This does not help your existence. And again, I'm with you. You and I talked about this. We thought this shit was dead. We thought they killed this after Kevin went on to the Breakfast Club a couple years ago and tore in the Katt about the Tiffany Haddish shit. Katt came out and then kind of threw his hands good. I have no beefs. I have no nothing. It does you no good at all to go after the number one top individual in comedy. Kevin is not the funniest by far, and he's another one who would, I believe, would say that because he pays homage to Chris Rock and Dave Chappelle all the time. But he is definitely the most powerful one in stand up right now, in terms of the movies and the TV and the podcasting and selling the tickets and everything. Why would you go after this man? I saw no benefit in that, and no benefit in talking about how people get to make it, whether it's sucking dicks, taking it in the ass, and talk about people's wives. I saw no benefit in any of that.
I mean, it's one of those things where I get what you're saying when it comes to why bring that up, but I think it's brought up in the context of the reason why these people are where they are. Now, I don't know what goes on behind closed doors and at them Hollywood parties. I don't know who's doing what with who and what deals they're making. I personally don't really care. All I care about is, are you funny? Is the content good? And I think that's the most important thing to look at when it comes to this conversation when we're talking about comedy is the product on stage good? Now, if you're good because you're ripping other people off, then that does need to be addressed. And I think that was the power of this interview is Katt was exposing Steve Harvey and Cedric the Entertainer when it comes to what happens on stage and, their ability to do what they do. The Ludacris and the Kevin Hart and the movie thing, look, man, at the end of the day, what you do to make your money is the choice that you have to reconcile with yourself. Point blank, period. If you're willing to put on the dress, as they say, okay, fair enough. But it would be one thing if these people were saying, I didn't put on the dress. We have evidence of them putting on the dress, and then they're acting like the dress didn't help their career. Whereas, other people would be like, you know what, I got to do what I got to do, and I ain't worried about any backlash. And at the end of the day, if you're happy with what you do, fine. But my thing with Katt was is that it's specifically just the Kevin Hart thing. Just the Kevin Hart thing. It was just like he is the top guy when it comes to ticket sales and touring and concerts and that type of stuff. What you said there's no benefit. And I agree with you. What was the benefit of going at the top guy? I mean, if you want to do a versus battle comedy wise, are you going to pick 19 specials versus Kevin Hart's what, 4 or 5 or 6? I don't. So it's one of those things where we all have our audiences. Not everybody's going to like everybody. To it's so hard to be universal in this business. It's so hard to cross over. To try and take shots at somebody who did it. I don't know if I like that.
I want to take a quick minute because we have so many eyeballs on us tonight. We appreciate you guys for jumping in here and for giving us your comments. We're going to try to get to as many as we can, so throw them in there. I'm getting ready to go to those. I did want to say real quick, if you haven't yet, click that share button. We do appreciate it. It helps us. It helps us with the algorithm, so on and so forth. So if you guys click the share button at least one time, we appreciate it. Facebook user here says, I didn't know Martin offered Katt to be in Big Mama's house. I had no idea about that either. That pulled Brandon T. Jackson out of the woodwork too. I saw there was a clip of him on a podcast talking about it and talking about people talked about me for putting on a dress and so on and so forth. I don't know if that had anything to do with Brandon T's career or not. His family's got a lot of money. They are a very powerful religious family back in Detroit with mega church, as well as having, as he put it in the podcast, the first all-black, faith-based, what I want to say here, TV channel or something along those lines. So, and I think that they got 100 million subscribers to that. So it could be the money. He could be going back into the family business. Could be whatever it is. He doesn't need Hollywood that way. Why are you laughing?
Because it sounds like a scam to me.
No.
How you make money off religion?
Hey, everybody.
You just supposed to be telling people how to live good. Why are you getting paid for that?
No, sir.
That's
No,
weird.
sir. That's not what we do. So, Royce Bellamy says, Sid, I stole 2 of your jokes. I owe you. And I'm looking to collect too. Facebook user says, my favorite quote, sometimes Diddy invites you to a party and you have to say no. You have to say no.
That's Aaliyah Craig.
Okay.
I mean, he makes a good point. Sometimes they do offer you things that you have to say no to. You and I both know when you first start comedy, you want to be on every show you can, right? You want to be, I want to do that show. I want to do that show. I think I can headline. I think I can feature. But you can't. And if somebody offers it to you, you have to have the wherewithal to be like, you know what? As much as I want to, this is not going to go well for me. So to have that mindset of knowing when to turn something down is, it's a good thing.
Facebook user here says, I want to get into this real quick too, because it kind of goes with what we're talking about. He said, Kevin Hart is an industry plant. So I want to stop it right there. I'm not quite sure who put that, but he
Goody
did say,
Good wrote that.
Goody Good. I think it was Corey Holcomb, and Corey went surprisingly positive, and I didn't think he would in an interview he was doing. They asked him about this interview and Kevin, and Corey had nothing but kind things to say about Kevin. But here's the other thing. Maybe it wasn't Corey. I can't remember who it was, but they had a great point. When you look at, if you want to say that the studios love Kevin and they gave him movies and pushed them out there, that is one thing. But Hollywood can push someone out there all they want. The public still have to want to see that person. The studios can't make people buy tickets at $25, $30 a pop when you're first starting out at the club level. The studios can't make you go out and spend $100, $200 when he's starting to do theaters. The studios can't make you spend thousands of dollars to see this person every 2 years when they move to arenas. So as much as you want to say the industry, if you want to say studios, Kevin look, we all know in this business, if you're out there right now, Goody Good, anybody else out there who's a professional comedian, we are all busting our asses to get into those rooms and get those agents that allow you to appear to be an industry plant. Nothing moves without the right people behind you. Not for Kevin, not for Steve Harvey at his during his time, said the entertainer today, not for Katt Williams for all of the talk that he has. Nothing moves for you if you do not have the right people around you, surrounding you, and behind you to put you in position. But to say that that is what Kevin owes his career to, no way. The public has says what they like about Kevin. The other thing about it is the industry really won't push you. The industry loves to. We watched Taraji P talk about it. We've talked about. We've Terrence Howard talked about it. There's plenty of black actors and actresses talking about how much this industry does not want to do for black people. And to their credit, the industry is business. And so it is the public that tells the industry what they want to see and who they want to see and who they'll pay for. Without the public behind Kevin, Kevin doesn't get 90% of what he's got going on right now. Not a chance in hell, no matter what the industry would want.
Kevin worked extremely hard. I'm not going to take that away from him. But we're going to have to be honest. Not every movie, just because it's number one, doesn't mean it's a number one movie. Okay. Just because it sells the most tickets doesn't mean it's the best show out there. So in that regard, this is where I have a little pushback when it comes to people who go, oh, he's the top guy. Yeah. Look, money is nice, but it doesn't necessarily equate to wins. You can have the highest payroll and still have a shitty team. So for me, that's where I take a little bit of a step back when it comes to people saying, "Oh, well, I got the most money, so I'm the one that's the best." I'm like, no, that just means that you have a market share value that people are willing to pay. Good for you. That doesn't mean you put on the best show. I don't think Kevin Hart's the best comedian in the world, even though he sells the most tickets.
No. But what Kevin has done is found himself on that middle road, and he's worked harder than most to stay on that middle road. You're going to be just 1 second. You're going to be hard pressed to say Kevin is a black comic or just a white audience comic. And I think riding down that middle of the lane, the way he has for the majority of his career, has allowed him certain things to have the number one ticket sales, to be able to do those arenas, to have the big box office movies, and so on and so forth. We were talking about, I was talking about this with someone before, and I think you and I did as well. You have to make these decisions early on in your career. And sometimes you don't realize you're even making them unless, again, you have, like Kevin Hart did, Dave Becky, to be right there next to you early on to help you guide these things. And these decisions help decide what type of comic you are going to be, which dictates what type of fan base you're going to have going forward. And again, I think Kevin has done a masterful job for the majority of his career. And it's hard. For people out there who don't do this for a living, it is hard because you want to say and do certain things and you can't if you're trying to do that. I'm sorry, go ahead.
But I don't think that was Katt's argument. I don't think he was coming at Kevin saying he doesn't work hard.
No. This was my retort to what you were saying. That's all.
Well, I mean, Katt kind of said it in an interview. He goes, "Stop telling me you work hard. Everybody works hard. Everybody goes to work today. My gardener works hard. Nobody works harder than anybody else." The idea that work ethic is the reason why Kevin is where he is, to me, is like, I don't think so. I don't think the reason he's where he's at is because he worked harder than anybody else. I personally just don't believe that. I really don't.
Well, speaking as someone who has multiple things going on at all fucking times, I myself take exception to what Katt said because I would not let someone who's not working as hard as me say that they work as hard as me. I wouldn't allow it.
Here's the difference, though. Katt is independent when it comes to what he's doing. He produces his own shows. And you, like he said, I've never seen a Katt Williams flyer for anything that he's done. Mm-hmm. He just shows up and the place is sold out. Mm-hmm. So it's one of those things where the idea that you have to have the industry behind you and pushing you to quote unquote make it, that's not necessarily true. So this idea that, I worked hard so that the industry would see me and that once I got there that they would know that I'm doing this, that, and the third, like, okay, that's fine, but that's not the only way to do it. And the idea that because you did it that way, you have more say than somebody else, to me, is ludicrous.
Well, it's not the only way to do anything. There's multiple ways to get in this business. If we all knew what they were, we'd have done them by now and be in the positions that we're still working at trying to get to. No one's saying Katt is not successful. He is. He's done a lot. He's done a lot for people. He's made a lot of money. He's been in movies, so on and so forth. But to say that you cannot say Kevin is far and above where Katt is, and to say that a lot of it doesn't have to do with some type
Comedically,
of.
he's not.
We're not
And
talking
I
about.
think,
We're not. That's not.
but
What we're
I
talking.
think that's what, but I think that's what Katt was talking
And
about.
I think that's where Katt gets crossed up because here's the thing: whenever you're not where that person is, where the world judges it all, you always try to find some other way to judge where you are versus that person. Now, if Katt was well above and past Kevin in terms of box office and dollars and movies and all that, Katt wouldn't be so worried about what Kevin is doing every fucking 2 years when he brings this up. So the fact that he feels like he's funnier than Kevin is not enough for him because he knows that's not enough for the industry. That is not enough for the planet. That may be enough for purists, but it's not
See,
enough and not even for him.
but I think the difference becomes what are you willing to put up with versus what you're not willing to put up with.
No,
And
no,
so
that's for you.
for who?
No,
Me or
that's for you. That's how you feel. That leans into you and how you think and what you feel. I don't think all of this breeds jealousy just for the Kevin Hart portion. Every time he brings Kevin's name up and has something to say, and Kevin, oh, I work hard, my gardener works hard. It's not the same, and he
but
knows
see,
it.
that's why I this is where you and I are gonna disagree because Katt was where Kevin was. Katt was there, right?
And why is he
And
not
for what?
now?
Well, apparently it's drugs. That was the reason. Oh, you were doing drugs. That's why you're not. Or maybe it was Cat was like, no, I don't want to do that. And they're like, all right, we'll go get somebody else who will do it. And thus there it is. So without being able to unequivocally say yes, this happened or no, it did not. It's only speculation. Personally, I think Cat heard, saw, and was like, yeah, I don't want to do that. And so they went and got the next person, which is fine. The movie's going to get made whether you're in it or not, right? It's already been written. So,
Yeah, but I disagree with you there because the one thing that Kat said and Spanx did have a retort about this, and I agree with was Kat kept leaning towards this whole thought that there was these movies that was coming across his desk that had these homosexual tones to it, and he said no, I didn't want to do it, so they gave it to Kevin. And I agree with Spank. Point to these 5, 6 movies that Kevin Hart has done where he plays a homosexual in the movie, or
there's
has
one where Shaq's bending him over a car.
these homosexual. What film?
I don't know the name of the movie because I've never
Okay.
seen it, but I've seen the clip where Shaq is bent him over because he pulls him over. He gets him out of the car. He bends him over the side of the car, and he's pumping him. You gonna go to jail? You keep this up, and this is what's gonna happen to you. And then Shaq's literally clothes banging Kevin Hart. Like, why are either one of y'all doing that? Neither one of you need to do that.
Is this is something early in Kevin's career?
No, this was like 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay, well that's what I'm talking about. We're talking about the earlier stages of when this whole divide kind of came,
But
where
what I'm
Cat went
saying
one
is,
and Kevin went the other.
okay, but if Kat's offered something and he says no because it leads to that, versus Kevin saying, yeah, I'll do this that Kat don't want to do, and then it leads to him getting bent over the hood of the car. I think that's the conversation that Kat's having. It's like, I knew where that train was going, and that's why I didn't get on it.
That well, okay. I don't want to get stuck on that. I want to make sure we keep this thing flowing. Facebook user says, I like what he said about gatekeepers. And to me, Dion, that is one of the things where it didn't make any sense. Duh.
That was goody good.
Goody good. Duh. We already know there are gatekeepers. This is a known thing already in entertainment. Not to
Okay,
mention
to
there's
us,
gatekeepers in most industries.
to us, I don't think the layman is aware of the gatekeepers of comedy. I don't, the layman out there, the average person doesn't understand the ins and outs of why people are where they are and how they got there. They really don't. And I think him bringing up the gatekeepers wasn't necessarily to bring people awareness. It was more to put pressure on the people who are in those positions to say, hey, I know who you are, I know what you've done, and this is my warning shot. He said Tyler Perry can't do it all on his own. I know Robert Townsend for a fact has tried to help hundreds of black people in this industry, and there's only so much you can do with the power that you have. What's the guy that runs Comics Unleashed? He owns the Weather Channel.
Byron Allen? Yeah.
Byron Allen is another guy who's trying to open doors. So it's one of those things where I see where he's coming from. I'm not necessarily saying I agree with everything he said, but at least I can, take myself out of it and go, just look at it for on surface what he's saying, and it holds true.
Yeah, but here's what I would say about the gatekeepers. Yes, there's gatekeepers. There's gatekeepers in most industries. If you got a raise at your job, most likely there's because someone's sitting behind a desk who said, "Yeah, let's get this person raised and bring him on in." It's just the nature of being an adult and having a fucking job. I get what you're saying, that he feels like he was maybe educating the layman. But again, this does nothing for you, and you are not helping anything at all. Fake Ass Book Club says if the Illuminati was real, then way more people would be famous if all you have to do is sell your soul and do gay stuff.
No, because you still have to have talent. Like you have to have talent and be willing to do that stuff. Not a lot of people have talent and are willing to do that. So I disagree with that. You can't just suck penis and to be famous unless you're, well, maybe you can. I'm sure there's a bunch of OnlyFans models who are, have millions of followers because they suck the penis. So
I don't know if I agree with this or not. I want to take it to the master debaters who are watching, and I want to hear what you think, Dion. Facebook user says he also went after comics that won't go after him, I assume. This is what they wanted to finish to say. He didn't come after DL, Martin, or Corey Holcomb. He knew what he was doing. Well, Corey...
That was Sean Jones.
Okay, Sean, I would say Corey doesn't have the career Katt has, so I don't think there's any reason. And as far as I know, Corey's never really come after Katt. Martin, I think he did kind of come after Martin. It was kind of a soft come after him compared to what he tried to do or what he did to everyone else. And DL, you may be right on DL. I don't know what his relationship is with DL. What are your thoughts on that comment, Dion? I'm going to put it back up here for the folks again. We didn't maybe.
I don't think he went after those people because he didn't have a beef with those people. Steve Harvey, according to Don D.C. Curry, turned down an autograph for Katt Williams' kids, and that's where the beef started. Mm-hmm. Now, we can go back to, I think it was 2010 or 2010, 2013. It could be either one of those. Steve Harvey and Katt did a tour together, and Katt killed him. He talked about his man wig. It was in Detroit. That video resurfaced. So there was beef there. He talked about Cedric, and the reason why they have beef is because at that time, Ced did Katt's joke on Kings of Comedy, and so there's a legitimate reason to have beef there. Who else did he talk about? The Wanda chick. Mm-hmm. There was a reason why, for whatever reason, she did what she did. Katt claims that, they weren't going to talk about his kids, and then she brought his kids up in the interview, which pissed him off. So if you're going to say you're going to do something, and then you're not going to do something, and then you do it, it's like, oh, why are you trying me? I need to show you who I am. So I don't know if Corey or Martin or DL have ever tried Katt. He didn't speak on that. But so I don't think Katt just woke up and was like, you know what? Let me go in there and rip on Faison Love, Ludacris. Like, maybe something happened between Katt and these other individuals to the point where he felt like he needed to go and address it publicly.
The crazy thing is, and again, you guys know, throw your comments in. We're going to get to them. August, I see you talking a lot. August loves Katt, so we go get it to it. I guess here's something else that kind of, and I forgot about this until you said his name, that kind of took me. I was like, wow, I did not know that. And for people out there who knew it, yes, I did not know. I did not know that Steve Harvey went behind Bernie Mac's back to steal his role with Ocean's 11. And that's what kind of tore the two of them apart and ruined that King of Comedy tour.
I mean...
Had you heard that already?
I had heard it, yeah.
Okay.
And it makes sense to me. If you look at Steve Harvey's career, this was a beautiful thing that he brought up about Mark Curry, which I'm so happy he gave Mark Curry his flowers, because Mark Curry, I grew up on hanging with Mr. Cooper. I loved Mark Curry. I always wanted to see him perform, and every time he came to Indy, I was somewhere else, which really irritated me. And he hasn't been here in a long time, so I haven't got the opportunity to see him. But The second he said Steve Harvey stole Mark Curry's whole flow, I immediately thought about Hang on, Mr. Cooper, and then the Steve Harvey, and I go, holy shit, it's the same fucking show.
Same
It's
show.
literally the same fucking show. So he's established a pattern of why this guy isn't who he says he is. Then he talks about Steve Harvey wife and saying, how are you gonna tell us all this relationship advice when you own your second wife who was the miss, like, so he's explaining all these things about Steve Harvey's behavior. And then Steve Harvey has a clip where he's talking about, I'll be any kind of monkey for X amount of dollars, and then he starts making monkey noises, and it's just one of those things where I'm like, damn, Steve, you kind of told on yourself there. You're not,
And let's not forget about Trump.
yeah, it's one of those things where you say one thing and you do another, you look hypocritical, you got to speak on it. The idea that you have 7 shows and that's the reason why you stopped doing stand up, I know that to not be true because Miss Pat's got multiple shows. She's on the road every weekend. So it's not like you can't go do stand up. You know, financially, you're not going to lose anything. You know, he said when Steve Harvey was on Club Shay Shay, he was like, you know, if I go back and do stand up again, it'll end my TV career. And
That's not
it's
true.
it's not worth it to me. And I'm like, well, why would it end your TV career? What are you going to say that's going to take family feud away from you? We already know who you are.
It's not
You know,
true, and you make a great point with Miss Pat, and I'm thinking some others. Obviously, Kevin. Kevin's back on the road right now every weekend doing new material on top of everything he has going. Tom Segura is probably one of the hardest working comics out there right now. That dude does almost 300 dates every year on top of all the podcasts and the films and everything else. So you make a great point. None of that would affect TV movies. Does not affect your touring dates. If you're a big enough star, they will work around all of that for you.
and another thing about this hard work, like it's not hard work. It's that's the beauty of our career. It's like once you're good at it, it's not hard anymore. It's not hard for you to create new material. It's not hard for you to write jokes. It's not hard for you to have funny interactions with audience members. Like it's literally, oh, I can do that in my sleep. So the idea that, oh, this all of a sudden is hard, like, no, it's really not. It's
I,
easy for you to do an hour. You think it's hard for Katt Williams to do an hour? You think it's hard for Kevin Hart to do an
I don't
hour?
I don't think that's the hard work part of it. And I'm with you. There's nothing for you and I to jump up on a stage, give me the mic, fill it with how many people want to fill it, and I'm going to make them laugh. I don't think that's the hard part of it all. And I'm with you to a certain extent. I don't think it's as hard. It gets easier as you climb that fucking mountain because you have more people around to do things for you and so on and so forth. But I do think there is some hard work involved in doing this. It's not as easy as keeping this fucking train on the road as on the tracks,
But now I've got to
or
challenge you on that
or
because
as easy rather.
you and I have gone to shows where people who are famous, who have filled out the comedy club because they're famous, and then they get up there and then they lay eggs. So that's not hard work for them because people are already there to give them the benefit of the doubt because I saw you in a movie. And then they get up on that stage and they eat a giant dick because they're not working hard.
But that's hard work though. That's hard work to stay on that stage and listen to them fucking echoes of quiet.
Not when you're counting the money. And I think that's part of the point is just because you have shows booked doesn't mean you're working hard. And I think people need to understand that is that there's a difference between hard work and having work.
Yeah.
Hard work would be going to places where they've never heard of you and building that audience. That would be difficult.
And that's what I'm saying.
Going to a place where they can't wait to buy your tickets, that's not hard.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. As you climb the mountain, it gets easier. But I'm not going to say that once we get to the top of the fucking mountain, there's not going to be some type of hard work that still comes with it. We still got shit we have to do that you don't want to fucking do. You have multiple projects going on at a time. You may have shit, family stuff. I mean, there's still going to be hard parts of the job. But Kevin, I'm sure, and Katt for that matter, would much prefer to be in the position they're in to be mid-level like you and I are at this point. So yeah, I'm with you.
Oh,
that part
absolutely.
way.
But
Yeah.
absolutely. But again, I don't think once you figure out your voice,
Agreed.
the quote unquote hard work is really just you. Oh, am I freezing up on you? You're freezing up on me. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. You were kind of slowing down a little bit there, but you're good.
Yeah, you're slowing down on my end too. Am I in? Can
Well,
you hear me now?
drop off and
Yes.
come back. Drop off and come back.
Yeah, there's a huge delay. I'll be back.
All right. While we're waiting for him, I want to go to some more comments here. If you guys are still with me, let me know. If you're not, you can't let me know. But No Sleep Ike, the comedian, says no one really said he lied in response. They kind of just like he tripping. I believe most of it, but the point is, why say it now? So, great point there. Kind of what we kind of touched on before. What is the purpose of saying it right now, Ike? I'm right. I'm right there with you. Let's see here. Marissa says stealing jokes is a demerit. At least one demerit you get for that. Oh, fake ass book club. Kat says I actually agree with Sid about Kevin Hart. He's done the work and the audiences like him. And here we are. Fake ass book club. You and I give an applause because we have finally found something to agree on. How dare you,
I
Roland?
knew that's what was slowing down my internet was the bullshit that you just said.
Oh, sir, cannot
giving
seem to hear
giving you
you.
give giving you and Kat an applause break because she finally agrees with you on one of your raggedy ass points. Yeah, yeah, that's what was slowing down my internet for sure.
Sean, Sean said, I think the point was a black man, it is hard making it unless they are degraded in the industry. And I was having a conversation with someone about this, Dion, earlier today. I think we stay focused on what they say black men have to do to make it. I don't. I guess I guess I'll say this. Ari Spears kind of touched on this publicly first. This was his first comment he made, and I agreed with it. The one thing, not the one thing, something else I took from it, though I found it highly entertaining, is why did it have to be done? Why does
Why did what
this?
have to be done?
Why does it seem like it is always us who are on Front Street with this type of thing? Jerry Seinfeld, Daniel Tosh, Louis C.K., none of those cats are going to go on to Jimmy Fallon's show or whatever and just start blazing other white comics and have this type of effect on the internet. That just isn't and just doesn't happen. Why does it seem like this stuff, and Cat's normally at the center of this, but why does it seem this is just a black comedian thing or a black entertainer thing?
Well, because they're all compete for the same spot. At the end of the day, whether we want to admit it or not, we all know you only get one black dude in the movie. You know, unless it's a completely black film, you're not going to have you're not going to have a white headliner and then a bunch of black co-stars. It's just not. That's not what happens. That's not what people watch. That's not what the world wants to see. For whatever reason, look at Black Panther. That's why that movie was so celebrated. We finally got our big blockbuster thing, and it was everything that we wanted it to be. We were all doing this for a summer at least. And so it's one of those things where the opportunity to be the guy and open doors for other people is important for us. And so it needs to be spoken on why the perception in the perception in the community is what it is, and the fact that, excuse me, there's always going to be beef because we're all competing for that one spot. Now, if we create our own thing, like Tyler Perry's trying to do, like Byron Allen's trying to do, then we won't have this back and forth, as they say.
Sinbad was the first comedian to tell me exactly what you said. There can only be one. Hollywood only allows one. Kevin has said something opposite to that within the last year or so. I've heard him say it multiple times. Why does it have to be only one? That's bullshit. There can be more than just one. That's what he said.
No, they can't.
I'm just saying what Kevin said.
What other comic did he put on his? What black male comic did Kevin stand next to in his big blockbuster movie? He didn't. He picked The Rock. So don't tell me there can be multiple guys at the top, because there can't. He and Chris Rock are doing stand-up tour together. That can happen, absolutely. But as far as, are they making a buddy cop film? I don't think so.
But but I guess my question is, does it need to be put on Front Street though? Even though that the truth is there, some people, again, Kevin and some others, may argue against it. Does it need to be put on Front Street for the whole world to see?
Why not?
I'm
Because
asking.
if
I'm
you can
asking.
only have one, what difference does it make?
Okay. Okay.
I mean, if I challenge you to prove to me, if I challenge you, if I call you out and say, hey, you only allow one person at a time to come through the door, what's up with that? What is your response to that? You either say nothing and everything stays the same, or you address it and now we get to comb through your history to make sure the response that you're giving is accurate to the actions that you've had in the past. And I think that's the main reason why these things need to happen, is so that when the rebuttal comes, we can go back and fine tooth comb it and go, oh, no, you did steal his joke. There is only one guy at a time,
It,
and
it,
delve into the reasons why behind that.
you know what I was thinking about too after this interview? I spent a couple of days thinking about this and thinking about this as a whole. The things that are coming out now, there's no way. There's no way. Obviously, there's no way Steve Harvey or anyone who's ever taken a joke or been accused of taking a joke could ever think that the internet would not only exist, but be to the point where everybody and their mother has it. Like I'm recording this podcast on my phone right now, and you wouldn't even know it. That's how good technology has gotten. That's how good the software is on my computer as well. To For these guys to go back in time 20 years and just someone to go back and just, hey man, you probably don't want to do this shit because one day they're gonna be able to dig this shit up and like, all right, thanks, good looking out. Like no one knew that this would all this shit could come back up. I guess what I'm trying to say is be fucking careful. I mean, there's no way they would have known that then, but you know it now. You gotta be fucking careful.
But here's the thing though. If these guys that he talks about if they don't mention him, or if they don't slight him, does he say anything?
Probably
Because
not.
as Sean said earlier, he didn't pick on Corey, he didn't pick on DL, he didn't pick on Martin. So it wasn't like he just woke up and was like, yo, let me go shoot 9 comics in the face today. No, that's not what happened. He had issues with these people and he went on Shannon Sharp's show and boom, because it was so compelling and because people were quick to look it up and be like, oh yeah, he's telling the truth on this, and this. That's the reason why it was so compelling. Is it was allowed us to go take a look back and check him on what he was saying. And the fact that it holds true is what makes the interview so compelling.
100%. But that's what I'm talking about. Just the shit that's coming up. Like it's someone else said this earlier today, and I'm sorry guys, I'm spacing on a lot of the things that people I want to quote. But they said this is probably just the tip of the iceberg from 2024. We're going to have an entire year of people digging up old shit on people and putting it out there and showing what you did wrong, 20 years ago. Facebook user says, Kevin said it best. Katt became a liability to the studios. He was getting arrested for stuff and they didn't want to fuck with him no more.
See, and this is where I push back, because you don't care if Robert Downey Jr. is on drugs. You don't care if, like, smoking weed and having DUIs and that type of, people don't care about that. Are you good at what you do? That's what people care about. If you're better than the quote unquote liabilities, it doesn't fucking matter.
Well,
And that's the beauty of being a celebrity is if your talent can carry you to the top, to where people will forgive you for the most egregious things that you can think of, which is human nature, is especially here in America, where we put celebrities on such a high pedestal because we enjoy their ability to do things that we like to watch. Like, if you say to me, Katt Williams is fucking off press tours or because he's on drugs, and then Katt comes out and says, I only thing I smoke is weed, and the reason why I didn't want to go do all that bullshit is because I knew the bullshit coming afterward. Well, you, one of two things is going to be true. Either Katt's lying or Katt's telling the truth.
Well, this is what I would say, because we both have worked with people who do drugs. A lot of people in comedy have different substance abuse issues, and they get work nonstop regardless of it. What I would say is more likely, if I had to pick something, if we're talking about why he was and then he wasn't, I would say that the people who tend to lose work are the people who become hard to deal with. Whether that is what Kevin tried to say on the Breakfast Club, you're constantly late for meetings. You're supposed to be over here in the studio once you're over here, which was the big thing that kind of killed Monique. As much as people want to say this and say that, the big thing, and I'm going to say that it was the big thing because that's the thing she pointed to. She did not want to go on the press tour that is required for most of these actors to do by the studios. And she
Because they
refused
weren't paying her.
100%. So they weren't going to pay her. But that is, as Whoopi Goldberg put it, part of the deal. And I say she should have done it. That's my opinion. But I'm a long money looker, not a short money. Look, you just buried yourself and all the money
But
you
see,
could have made. So go
it
ahead.
makes it harder for you to negotiate the longer money if you're willing to take the short term fuck over. And I think that
I
I think
disagree with you.
you bring
Hardcore.
I think you bringing up Monique's situation and Katt's situation is a perfect example of what you're willing to tolerate, right? If you're not willing to tolerate that free opportunity in the beginning for the long-term success, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with Monique saying, you know what? Y'all not going to pay me for this, so I'm not doing it. I have no problem with that. The consequence of that being is like, all right, we're not going to fuck with you anymore. Okay, fair enough. Is it wrong for Monique to say they weren't trying to pay me? They paid everybody else. Why aren't they paying me?
You always miss the key point when we talk about stuff like this. You're right. You have the right, you have the freedom to say I'm not going to do it because you won't pay me. And if that's what you choose to do, then you live with the consequences. What you can't do is sit around for the next 2 years and blaze Oprah, Tyler Perry, Lee Daniels, and anybody else you can think of and complain and complain and complain. You knew what you were doing when you made the decision. You decided that you're supposed to be the person that's going to break all the rules that have already been set and laid in Hollywood. And Hollywood said, we got something else for you. And they did. If you're going to do it, live with the consequences. That's why you made the decision.
This is where you and I fundamentally disagree. If I tell you that I'm not willing to tolerate you treating me like this, regardless of what future benefits or negative things that come my way. That's just my principle. If I'm standing on my principle, I don't want to hear about. They're gonna go find somebody else. There's always going to be some. You and I both know a shit ton of shitty open micers who will do a bar show that you and I will be like, I'm not doing that shit because it ain't gonna benefit me any.
100%.
So they'll go find somebody else. The point of having principles is that you stand on them. And the fact that the backlash, it doesn't change the fact that she was right. Monique was right. Oprah did fuck her over. Tyler Perry did fuck her over. They did fuck her over. Whether it was right or not, it
That's what
doesn't
you.
matter.
I look fine. And that's why the show's called Not As Debatable, because we debate the shit on the show. All I'm saying to you is I'm not disagreeing with you. She had every right, but for you and I to do an open mic show that we wouldn't do because we're far beyond that is not the same thing as what we're talking about with Monique. We're talking about this woman was asked to do something. She decided she didn't want to do it, and you're right. She has every right not to do it. But they have every right to make you pay for your decision.
I think Taraji P. Henson is another classic example of, you know what, I'm tired. And for people to come out and say, well, why are you complaining about it now when you've been dealing with it for 10 years? Because I'm tired of dealing with it. I shouldn't have to deal with it. If I'm an Oscar nominated if I win an Oscar, you're not going to not pay me to go on press tours? What the hell are you talking about? You're not doing that to Meryl Streep. Why are you doing it to me?
You are not Meryl Streep. And this is
If
where
I
people.
had, but this is,
I don't care.
but
I
you
don't
got,
care.
hold on.
No,
Let
yeah.
me finish. What I'm saying is once you reach a certain level and you look around and you see your peers are being treated differently than you, yet you're on the same level, and you bring that up.
Meryl Streep is not Monique's peer.
No. The only reason I used Meryl Streep was because she was the only other woman actress that I could think of
Oh,
that had an
okay.
Oscar.
Yeah,
So
I was gonna
that's
say.
the only reason I brought her up. What I'm saying is once you reach that level and you can look around and see, oh, they're not. You got 18 million, and I'm only getting offered
Hold on.
750,000.
Wait.
Why?
Doesn't Whoopi Goldberg have an Oscar?
Does she? I don't know.
I believe Whoopi has an Oscar. I believe Whoopi is black. I believe Whoopi is multi-talented. And I think Whoopi told her ass too, I would have told you that this is the way the business works. You should have went on the press tour.
Okay, that's how Whoopi would have did it. And what I'm saying is Monique stood on her principle. Did it cost her? Absolutely. But was she wrong? No, she wasn't. And if the price of being right is losing the bullshit you
I'd
have
say
to,
this is where we disagree. I'd say she was wrong. You said she was right.
why is she wrong for not going on the press tour? Because she was gonna make more money in the future after she put up with the bullshit that she shouldn't have to put up with in that moment, which is the reason why she said I'm not doing it.
What?
This is it's hold on. It's not like Monique got her Oscar and was like, from now on, my shit don't stink. That's not what happened. And what irritates me is people try to frame it like all of a sudden she became difficult. It's like, no, she reached a milestone. They didn't want to treat her like she reached that milestone. She pushed back on it. And then all of a sudden, she's the worst person to work with. Now, after all that shit came out, and when she talked about Tyler Perry and Oprah, and then she had that beef with DL where she was admitted that she shouldn't have talked about his kids and she was wrong for that. So it's not that she always makes the right choice, but in that particular instance, she has a legitimate reason to be like, no, I'm not doing that.
That
It
was
will be the same thing for you if you wrote in your writer, I want Voss water only. And then you show up to the show and ain't nothing in there but Evian and fucking ice water. You're gonna be like, hey,
and you
I
nope,
said
nope, nope.
Voss water.
That is not. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to sit back and I'm going to take stock of where I am in my career. Am I at a particular status where I could say politely, "Hey, I know you guys put the Avion in here. If we can make that correction, the Voss water, I would appreciate that. You know, because that's what I had in my writer. If I'm not on that level, I'm gonna. Oh, if I'm just happy to be getting this fucking work. All right, they fucked up my water, so I guess I'm gonna have to drink this water, or don't drink any fucking water at all. I'm not gonna be like,
See, you moved
hey,
the goalposts.
I
You moved the
said no, I did
goalposts.
not. I did
You
not.
did because I already established that she's on that level of she's got an Oscar. So treat her like she's got an Oscar, and they weren't doing that.
And there's a
So she
way.
became difficult to work with
All
because
right,
she was standing up for herself. I find that ludicrous. They do this all the time, especially to black women. They do it to them all the fucking
you ain't
time
never
where they
said
say,
ludicrous
"Oh,
all the time.
you."
I know you.
Well, I'm just saying it's like they tell you these women are difficult to work with when they're just standing up for themselves. The idea that Taraji P Henson can't get a chauffeur to her job in Atlanta on the set of Color Purple to film this movie, like what? Why not? Granted, personally, I would prefer to drive myself. But at the same time, if you've reached a certain level, if you put in it, if you paid your dues and you've done what you've done, and you have the resume that you have, it is shouldn't have to. I I should. You should. We should never know the struggles of these people. We should never know the struggles of Monique. We should never know the.
Please don't use the word struggle. But
What I'm what,
but I,
no,
but
I'm talking about the struggle and the equality that their counterparts get that they have to fight for. That's what I'm saying. The struggle to be treated as an equal just because your skin color is different. That's what we're talking about. It's like, oh, these black actors are
there's
difficult to work
plenty of
with.
things that go into that decision. There's plenty of things if you talk about pay and you talk about those different things. We that's
Is Viola Davis any worse actor than Jennifer Lawrence? No.
Viola
Is the
Davis is far above Jennifer Lawrence.
okay, but why is she getting paid this again? So that you further prove my point.
No,
It's
I
like she's
didn't. No,
still
I.
having she's putting up with bullshit she shouldn't have to put up with, while this woman who is below her is not putting up with it. Granted, they
You
don't look the same, so
you pick Viola Davis. That's not this. It's not the same. I'm not going to make the same argument for every actress because she's black. But Taraji P
they
Henson is
all have
not.
the same
Taraji
complaint,
P Henson is not Viola Davis.
and yet they say they have the same complaint. They have the same complaint that they're not
And
being treated like their counterparts, which is
and
what
you
they're fighting for.
and you're more than welcome to have that complaint. All I'm saying is there's anyway. That's a show for a different day. Comedian August O'Neill says the only lie was that the two of the new and younger comics were funny. So she's saying that's where Katt kind of Katt wasn't telling the whole truth. Facebook user says, nope, I am not a professional. Just thought Katt comparing Kevin Hart to Billie Eilish was a trip. Yes. Let's see here. I already touched on that. Want to make sure I touch on everyone here that I can. Facebook user says, Kevin said it best. Katt became a liability. We touched on that already. Scroll, excuse me for.
That was Sean Jones.
Roxy Perez says, and a couple other people say they did not sense jealousy vibe from Katt. I strongly disagree with that when it comes to Kevin Hart. I do think there is some jealousy there. Maybe not with the other guys, but I do think there's some jealousy there when it comes to Kevin Hart.
Let me ask you this: take the money out of it. No money. Take all the money out of it. Do you think Katt Williams is jealous of Kevin Hart's talent level?
No, we're not, and that's not what we're talking about, though.
Okay, so if then so what if he's jealous of Kevin Hart's money? Who gives a fuck?
I'm talking. I'm
Doesn't
not.
it doesn't negate anything he said about what I'm talking. So when you say, oh, he's jealous because Kevin Hart's got money, like, so the fuck what? Who cares?
It does negate it because how much of it is true? When you want to sit here and say that this was all set up because he came and he set feet down and he had a TV show waiting for him and all that kind of stuff, blah blah blah. Kevin had Dave Becky early in his career. Again, to go back and say it again, we both know that your careers are made and broken. A lot of people's based off your management. And Dave Becky has been with Kevin for a lot of years. So yes, when he showed up to LA after doing his shit in New York and Philadelphia, there were some things that was waiting for him. There's a reason why some of these guys, and you know this for a fact too, there's a reason why when they were actually breaking talent, some people get invited to Just for Laughs. And for people out there who don't know, Just for Laughs is a very large festival that takes place in Montreal every year. They were known for breaking
It's one of
talent.
the biggest comedy festivals in the
It was
world.
it was the place that where a comic would go. If you were hot, you almost would come out of there with 2 or 3 deals with a network, without even fucking blinking.
Industry plant, as they say.
And you had to be invited. Not industry plant. That's how he wants to label it. This is the fucking business we're in, Dion. You can't make it sound like something else because it
Then
doesn't
how
work for
is
your
Kevin Hart,
benefit.
or then how is Katt Williams successful? As successful as he is,
He's
19, 100 city tours,
yeah,
30 different movies.
successful.
See, so you're telling me
And why is
that
that not enough for him? That he has to keep talking about what someone else has and how they got it. And was
again,
Cat and yes, and answer this question: was Cat Williams an industry plant when all of the, as he puts it, all of the scripts were coming across his desk, and he said, "No, I'm not going to do them." Was he an industry plant? He didn't say that about himself, though, did he?
how would he be an industry plant if he didn't fuck with the industry? If you say no to the industry, you can't be an industry plant.
Okay, then you don't get to talk about someone else being an industry plant when you were one yourself.
Why? If you go to the parties and you see what's happening behind closed doors, and you could talk about why people got what they got because what they were willing to do versus what you weren't willing to do, you are the only person who's allowed to speak on it. If I witness you do something that I know the industry wanted me to do and I said no, then I can talk about my experience and why you got what you got.
And I'm a,
Because it came to me first. I
and
said no because I knew what was going
according
on
to
behind
you, it
closed.
came to you first. That these 5
Okay.
homosexual roles, and the next thing I'm gonna say
Then
to
let
you,
me ask you this. Then let me ask you this.
hold on,
If
let me
I
say this.
bring, I was talking before you
I
interrupted
know,
me.
well, I'm talking now.
So motherfucking bastard. So what I'm saying is if I tell you these things, if I bring them to the light, and I'm challenging you to check me on them, and then everybody I mentioned never said I lied. They just said I'm bitter, I'm a drug user, and I'm jealous. They didn't say that's unequivocally false. This never happened. This, that, and the third. Here's the receipts. Nobody did that. They just said, oh, he's crazy. He's bitter. He's on drugs. He's jealous. The flippant dismissal of, no, I'm calling you out. Show me your receipts to prove otherwise. Nobody's done that other than him running that slow ass 40 in the Memphis gym.
He's, he was running slower because he was reading a book while he was doing the 40-yard dash. Let's see here. Facebook you says, like Dave said, they wanted something from him. I feel you can see what they wanted from him by looking at the Key and Peele show.
I mean, he said he turned down 4 different $50 million deals.
That's what
So
he said.
okay.
What deals
Well,
exactly? What
if
deals
he
exactly were
says they
they?
offered him the 5 movies, and he said no, and then Kevin Hart got him, okay.
Well, this is what I like about these Di. The shit that he read 3,000 books, shit on it. My man runs a
No, no, no,
sub
no,
four
no.
340, shit on it. But he says 5 movie deals. I passed on them because they were homosexual roles or whatever, and Kevin took them. That we just go and we say, yeah, that must be true.
I don't think he had in his contract that the next movie he and Ricky Smiley did together, Ricky Smiley had to wear a dress. I don't believe that
No,
for a second. I
that
don't
was
think for a
that was funny
second
though.
that it was a very funny thing to say. And I think that's part of it is that Cat was being entertaining and humorous, yet being facetious in some of these things that he was saying. I don't think everything he said should be, believed unequivocally. However, what I'm saying is if he brings it up, and these are things that we can fine tooth comb check, we should do that. And the fact that the people he called out, none of them said he was lying. They just said, "Oh, he's crazy." Ludacris made a 16 bar rap. Like, I don't. What was that? I don't. Okay, fine, whatever. But we talk about Cat doesn't have. He didn't have to do this interview. He doesn't need anything. So
That's what caught me off guard by some of the shit he said. Like, what are you doing? Let's get to some comments here real quick from August here. Comedian August O'Neill says DL is his boy, so that kind of answers that question on why he kind of left DL alone. She also says, remember they have writers still too. The monkey thing was from the interview with Michael Clark Duncan. So going back to, I think, to Steve Harvey talking about the monkey, he, acting like a monkey.
it wasn't an interview. He was on stage.
Okay, then maybe she's wrong on that. Then not quite sure what she means by you're neglecting us. I'm not sure what that means. Facebook user says, I can't stand him. I'm sure there was some truth to what he said. I just don't see him having the balls to say any of it if anyone he was talking about was in the room. Who said that?
That's Mary.
Oh, I'm surprised I couldn't see Mary. So she can't stand Cat.
Fair enough, but if he has the balls to say it on Club Shay Shay, he definitely had the balls to say it in somebody's face.
Let's see here. Say it says, I am hunk. Some of the reason is marketing. I imagine that's supposed to be sure. Cat has a tour going on. What better way to get more sales? Brilliant, if you ask me. I don't think that's what his primary goal was. Said I disagree with you there, Kevin. Cat does not have a problem with selling fucking tickets. So I don't think that was. If that's an offshoot of it, it'd be great for him. But I don't think that's why he did it.
I don't think so either.
I think he had a fucking bone to pick with
He
some
kind of
folks.
he kind of talked about how he kept getting in trouble, and it was like, I smoke weed because it helps me sleep and it helps me eat because I'm working all the time because I'm doing 1,900 city tours. Everybody knows, you and I both know that the travel part is the worst part of stand-up comedy. Having to go to all these different places every weekend, it's exhausting. It's part of the reason why sports teams try to get these fancy planes because the constant travel wears on your body.
Yeah.
So I get that, and if he's out there drinking, now there's been multiple instances where Katt Williams has done things where you're like, why the fuck are you doing that? Like fucking with the guy at Target, or there was one where he was at a restaurant and he was fucking with people, and it's like, what for what reason are you doing that? Now he
Yeah.
has to own that.
Yeah.
So no, he's not perfect, but what I'm saying is the idea. Just I'm not challenging Cat on what he said. I'm challenging for us, the people he said it to go and check to make sure it's factual. That's what I'm saying. And the fact that nobody he mentioned came out and said he's lying, that's interesting to me.
I mean, there is a point, but there's also something to be said for I'm above this. I'm not gonna sit here and respond and go get some more of these eyeballs on us. Hopefully, as I was trying to say before. Actually, let me say this first. I apologize. We got kicked off there for whatever reason. I have no idea what happened. But it's one of the things that happens when you're doing a live show, and we are back. Let's see here. Scroll down there to the bottom. All right. So Dion can jump back on. Let me see. Make sure he knows. Sorry, guys. You're watching this all happening live as I try to get Dion back on with us. Let's see here. Where's he at? Close this out. I don't even know what the heck is going on here. Not sure if you guys can hear that. Can you guys hear that, or was that just me? Can you guys hear that as well? Something behind me. That's hilarious. Is Dion back? Dion, can you hear that?
Hear what? I can
What's in
finally
my
hear you.
headphone? That's all you can hear, right?
I hear a faint talking. Yeah,
I cannot figure out where this is even coming from. It's driving me nuts.
it's that CIA listening in on this conversation.
Is that what it is? All right, I think I killed it. I don't know what the
The-
hell. I don't know what the hell that was. Again, as I was trying to say to you guys before, apologize for that. Again, I don't know what the hell that even was or what happened. But we are back. We are back. I was trying to talk about someone's comment here, and I don't remember what it was. Your internet is a fat face online.
Who said that?
August said that. You're so stupid.
Uh,
She's so
yeah, pause back for that one. That was funny.
fat
They
face.
already got mugs of that, which I thought was hilarious. They sold them on Temu.
It doesn't. They do not take long. Facebook user here says the industry tried to do it to Dave Chappelle too.
That was Robert from Houston.
Oh, okay. What's up, Robert? Thanks for jumping in. Sid says, "Oh my fucking god!" Look, somebody said Dion got that Starbucks Wi-Fi.
That was
Di-
Robert too. It wasn't me.
I think it
It
was you,
froze
bro.
for everybody,
I
didn't
think it
it?
was you. I think it was you, bro. I think it was you. You still there?
I saw a bunch of people say it keeps freezing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. I was just making
Can you
sure
not
you.
see me?
I can see you just freezing a little bit off and on. That's all.
The Wi-Fi is not even on, so
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know what
Comedian August
that
O'Neill says, I got receipts,
was.
Dion. He had talked about when he interviewed Michael Clark Duncan and wanted to know why he decided to play a monkey. He said they paid him $10 million. dollars. All right, Dion's frozen again. We're going to kick him off and bring him back up again, and we're going to try this one more time. There he goes. Like he think he'd already fallen off. So it is him. See, I know it. I know it was him. Well, this has been a fun show. We were on a real groove there for a second. Let's see if we can bring him up. Dion, you there? There you go.
Yeah, I was here the whole time.
You were not here the whole time. You fell off. We brought you back up. You fell off. We brought you back up.
I don't. I again, I don't know what's happening. There's
All right. Well, let's
not on
go ahead.
my end.
Let's go ahead and close this show out before we crash again. I thought the interview was again very entertaining, just because Katt's entertaining. Not completely sure he couldn't have solved some of this stuff with a simple phone call to a few people or just let it be. But I'm going to repeat what I was saying before. I don't know if someone who's at the heights that they're at, Kevin Hart, needs to reply to this to say no, that's not true. That didn't happen.
Well, one thing they can do if it's not true, and that's respond. Now, if it is true, they have two options. They can respond to it or they can ignore it. And we'll find out which it is. You know, if I'm at the top and somebody underneath me comes out, gets 25 million views in 24 hours and says a bunch of bullshit about me, I'm not letting that shit slide.
Right. Right.
Even if it's simply to come on and say, look, I'm Kevin Hart. You see my body of work. Don't listen to that bullshit. Even if that's just my response. But for him to sit up on ESPN and he and the Plastic Cup Boys, do that, to me, it's just like, why not just address it? If you're gonna make side comments, why not address what he said to you?
Well, he did
They
the
were picking
next
apart
day.
the reading.
He did the next day send out a tweet about it and say, "Hey, champ, you got to get that hate out your heart." And then he went from there to publicizing his movie he's got coming on Netflix.
Again, he didn't deny anything he said. He just said, "Get that hate out your heart." To which, we all know is a tactic. You didn't address what he said. You just said, "Why are you hating on me?"
Well,
That's all.
I think anyway we could argue about this all day if you
Well,
you on that that damn Starbucks Wi-Fi as somebody as Rubber said.
no, I think you sabotaged me because I was winning, and I think the evidence will show that when everybody goes back and looks at it.
Crystal Miller gave us a laugh my ass off here. Says he must have gotten his router at Temu. Facebook user says great discussion, dudes.
It's not me, y'all. It's him. He's doing this to me. He's trying to make me look bad.
Facebook user says
he's throttling me over here. I know what he's doing.
Facebook user says great discussion, dudes. LOL, all of it. Dion, can you see who said that? By chance?
That was goody good. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, goody good. Appreciate it. Facebook user says I think Katt said it out in the open to keep himself safe from the industry. And someone here says Team Dion.
Aaliyah Craig, thank you.
Leah, why are you always against me? All I do is show you a little light-skinned self-love every time you come on here, and you are against me every time. Who
said she was against you? She just said she was on my side. That
no,
doesn't mean necessarily that she was against you.
That's exactly what it means. That's exactly what it means. Exactly what it means. Definitely internet, Dion. See, someone over here at that damn Temu laugh my ass off.
Yeah, more like T-Mobile. T-Mobile might be Temu. I might be right.
What up, John? What's good? It said, we love our black king, Dion Curry.
Thank you, Dave. No, that wasn't Aaliyah. That was De La Fleur. Thank you. I appreciate that.
She's got the laughing, crying emojis.
Heavy is the head that wears the crown. Heavy is the head that wears the crown.
You would not know.
That's why my internet's so slow. This crown heavy.
Guys, we're happy to be back with you. Thank you guys for rocking with us again into 2024. Thank you for making it entertaining. We're going to try to do it again all year long. Dion, any shows coming up you want to let the people know before we get out of here?
I've got a couple local shows here. So if you're not in the Indy area, there's no point in bringing it up. Most of you guys aren't in the Indy area. No, I really don't want to. If you are in the Indy area, you want to come to the show, holler at me and I'll tell you about it. Otherwise, no. I think in February I might be in Portland with Greg Fitzsimmons. I was just with him New Year's Eve, so shout out to him. We had great shows. So yeah, that'll be my next road gig in February.
All right. Someone says, what was the other thing Dion wanted to talk about? You guys are just going to have to wait on that. You guys are just going to have to wait on that. What are you going to say?
We'll probably, I was going to say, we'll probably do that next week, or, if we do a bonus episode for our Patreon members that you guys should probably join and check that out, because we have some great conversations in our Patreon. So
August says invite her to Indy, Dion.
She keeps saying that, and I told August when she could come, so I don't know why she keeps bringing it up. You beat a dead horse, it might get up and kick you.
That's such an old man thing to say. I'm not gonna let the show end on that old man shit like that. I am going to be doing an audition over at Mic Drop Mania in Chandler. So if you are in the Phoenix area, I'd love for you to come out. That is going to be Tuesday night. Go to micdropmania.com to get yourself tickets. I am auditioning for a chance to be a guest of Kenan Thompson on SNL. So, we'll see how that goes. But if you want to come out and see me audition, that'd be great. Sean's supposed to be my boy. He says Team Dion. Fuck you, Sean. All right, gotta go. Show's over. Love you guys.
We're not doing our we're not doing our wait one more thing, or what the hell?
Yes. Go ahead. What you got? Yes, Thursday, not Tuesday.
My what the hell is
My show. I apologize. Go ahead.
that was Mary. My what the hell is what the hell was fucking Shane Steichen doing? Oh, dude, watching that Colts versus Texans game. I just need someone who's smarter than me to explain to me why at the biggest moment of your coaching career you turn to a practice squad running back on a play where Jonathan Taylor's got over 100 yards. You have over 200 yards rushing between him and Zach Moss. Why the hell are you passing it on 4th and 1 to a guy who's had 7 targets all season long on a chance to go to the playoffs, to define your career, to possibly get coach of the year by making it to the playoffs after you lose your star quarterback? You got this backup. You're doing way better than anybody ever thought you would do. You pull a Frank Reich 2.0 and pass it to a guy who's caught 5 passes all year. To me, it is the most mind-bogglingly stupid thing. You ride the horse that got you to the dance. You don't abandon them for some brand new pony who got. Oh, I'm still so pissed off. I hate this fucking coach. And in 3 years, when he gets fired, I will be justified that we should have fired him 3 years before we actually did. This guy's a bum. Everybody wants to talk about, oh, he turned water into wine. He's the next coming. The guy sucks. He's an idiot when it comes to decision makers. We lost 4 games because of his play calling, and we lost that game because of his play calling. He's the man in charge of calling the plays. He calls some bonehead plays. He didn't kick field goals when he should have kicked field goals. We took L's in those games. I'm looking at the Rams game. So I'm just, I'm so glad football is over. I don't have to worry about this shit no more. But goddamn, that pissed me off.
All right. Well, my what the hell is a lot simpler and way less emotional. Hey, you out there, I'm looking at you. I'm talking to you. Take your fucking Christmas lights down. All right. We are already, it's January 8th. So what the hell are you doing with yourself? Take them down. You got the whole weekend to do it. I know you got to work all week. You probably got some kids that you didn't want to have to buy those gifts for, and then broke all the toys already. You should have just gave them the boxes that the toys came in. I know. I heard it all. But take your fucking lights down, man. You're ruining the neighborhood. 2 things ruin the neighborhood very quickly. Your car is on fucking blocks in your driveway or on your lawn, and you still got your Christmas lights up, and it's January 8th. Killing property values out there for people. Everyone have yourself a great week, and we will be back next week.